ClickUp to Sheets is out with a new version, and I've been working with the second most requested feature for this add-on. Now, if you don't know what ClickUp to Sheets is yet, there's a bunch of series of videos in this YouTube channel to discover this little software I've built. But just to summarize, it lets you bring in your ClickUp tasks, time entries, and users from ClickUp to Google Sheets. Now, the most requested feature by far that I've seen here on my feedback tool is the ability to create and update ClickUp tasks from spreadsheets. I did this a few months ago and it's working well, but the second most requested feature, which I wasn't able to solve yet, was the ability to set up which fields you wanted to bring in from ClickUp to your spreadsheet. And after a few days of investigation, I realized I can actually set that up through view syncs in ClickUp to Sheets. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can pick which fields to bring in from ClickUp to your spreadsheet. This is the ability to configure which fields you want to select in your download. So a few people have requested this and it's pretty simple to do now. From now on, by default, when I open up a list in ClickUp, it will bring in the view information exactly as it's laid out in my view, which means if I have 5 extra columns on top of the task column, like the assignee, the due date, the time estimate, the launch date, or the content type, it's going to be able to bring that data with only those fields in ClickUp. And all the fields that are within the task, like the priority or the custom fields, like the job code, client, PM, etc., they're customizable. So you can decide to bring them later down the line. I'm going to show you how it works. First off, we're going to make sure we bring in a list view into ClickUp to Sheets, and the list is located in the marketing space, content and social media list. Let's get to ClickUp to Sheets in here, and I'm going to create a new sync, and this time I'm going to pick a view sync. From now, when you synchronize a view, it's only going to bring the fields that are displayed in that view. And that's quite important, because it lets you decide what you want to bring in. So I'm the workspace right now in the Sandbox Abscess workspace, and I'll bring in a list view. So I'm going to pick the list level, and it's going to ask me to pick the space. I'm going to pick marketing here. And from there, I'm going to go for the folder called content. And finally, I'm going to pick the list called social media. So we're exactly at the level of hierarchy I want to be in, which is this one, to bring in this view as an example. If I get back to ClickUp to Sheets and choose the list view to sync, I'm going to be prompted with 2 levels of settings. The first one is what data to bring. And by default, it's going to only bring the default fields that are in my view. If I want to include the default fields that are not in my view, or if you want to include custom fields, I can toggle that on. But let's start by keeping it off for now. I don't want to bring the description either. The only thing that I'm going to toggle on to make it look nice is the ability to color fields. So I'm going to click Start Sync, and it's going to create a spreadsheet with only the columns I need. It's created the social media list view in here, and we have the task ID, list ID, and name. Can't really get rid of those, but as you can see, it hasn't brought in all the rest of the custom fields. Basically, setting up the right view in ClickUp with the right fields displayed defines what comes into ClickUp to Sheets. So that solves that issue of being able to configure the field selected for syncing your data. Now, obviously, you can do that straight from the add-on because that would be quite tedious, especially for custom fields. Say you have 100 custom fields, having that implemented in the add-on would be complicated. So you don't choose that from the add-on, but you choose it from how you set up your view in ClickUp. You can always create an extra view, have it private and call it like export view with the exact fields you need, and then sync that view in ClickUp to Sheets. Now it takes about a minute to sync, and we're gonna wait for a little bit and it should be there. As you can see, it's finishing the setup of my view, and then it's brought in the right tasks. So it's brought in the name, the assignees, the due date, the time estimate, the content type, and the launch date. And those are exactly the fields I had here in ClickUp. So it's exactly the same layout as my view. Now, say I want to bring in custom fields on top of that, only the extra custom fields. I don't want to bring in the rest of the info, just more custom fields. So we have a few custom fields set up here, like the job code, the platforms, the PM, which are not displayed in the view, but I can always bring them into my view sync. And to do so, I have to turn on that in the settings of my sync. So I'm going to go into the settings of the existing social media list sync, and then I'm going to turn on the inclusion of hidden custom fields. And if I click sync task, it's going to create the columns for those custom fields. It's going to bring in those extra custom fields that are not displayed. And as you can see, we have the PM now, the platform, the approval, the client, and the job code. And it's going to do a sync again. And we have the exact data we need, which means all the custom fields plus the default fields that are displayed in my view right here. This brand new feature in the view sync gives you way more granularity over what you can bring from ClickUp to Google Sheets, because you might not need to bring in every single field, and that solves this problem. Now let's have a look for a second at the sync. It's just wrapped up and it's brought in the extra fields that we have here, the client, the job code, the PM, and the launch date. That's pretty cool. And it's all set up. And if I wanted to bring some extra fields, I can always do so by getting back to my sync and then going into the settings again, and then including the description or the default fields if I wanted to. So you can exactly pick what you want to bring in the view sync, which is slightly different from the list sync, which brings in every single field that you have in your task. Now, if you haven't tried out ClickUp to Sheets yet, it's your chance to get started, because you can now bring in the exact data you need. You can combine that with the rest of the ClickUp to Sheets features, which is the ability to create reports, to synchronize your tasks daily, or to be able to export your users or time tracked. If you want to discover those features, there's a series of videos talking about exporting time tracked or exporting users in my YouTube channel. And I've also done a full demo of ClickUp to Sheets recently, so you can watch that one. And once you install the add-on, you'll be prompted with a quick start guide with a bunch of explainer videos, so you will not be lost when starting to use ClickUp to Sheets and exporting your data from ClickUp to Google Sheets and keeping it in sync seamlessly. Now, ClickUp to Sheets is available to try completely free, and once you're happy with the tool and you've tried it out, you can go for one of the plans. There's either Starter, Pro, or Business plan. Those plans give you more features and more bang for your buck, because with the Pro plan, you can already sync as many views and lists as you want. With the Business plan, you can two-way sync, which means create and update tasks from the spreadsheet back onto ClickUp and generate reports as well. So have a look at ClickUp to Sheets, give it a try. You can always subscribe later down the line, and there's a coupon down the description giving you a small discount on your subscription for the first year. So I hope ClickUp to Sheets solves your expert problems and lets you use your ClickUp data onto other tools or use it for reporting to your team. Now, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on another one. Until then, stay productive.